Hi, I'm Gia Mills, and I have been a celebrity makeup artist for the past 20 years. I am fascinated by the power of makeup and also beauty politics. In True Reflections, you get to peek behind the curtain and find out what your favourite celebrity really feels about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them. So who is with me today? My guest today, she knows exactly where to find a place in the sun. She's guided us through selling houses, and most recently, she's been soaking up plenty of sunshine herself. She's the ultimate mix of glamour, warmth and wit. So please welcome to True Reflections, the fabulous Amanda Lamb.
Thank you so much for having me. That's such a nice intro. Thank you.
That's thank you, Johnny, producer. He's
well done, Johnny.
He's very good. But Amanda, thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
I have been following you for a long time, and from back in the day, you got me into advertising. Did you know?
No, go on.
We bumped into you, a friend of mine and I,
Yes.
at a Dita Von Teese thing.
Yes, that was an interesting one as well,
Wasn't it?
Gosh. Never seen. The makeup in that place was incredible.
I know. How Dita Von Teese, I mean, I don't think she goes in the sunshine.
I don't think she lives in a cave.
Yeah.
She must do.
Her skin, she's tiny.
It's like porcelain.
I know.
Mind you, if you were going to get your bits out like that all the time, you would also be like that, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? We all have the benefit of clothes. She just has nipple tassels.
She has nipple tassels, but there's something quite magical about her.
She's sort of otherworldly, isn't she? She doesn't look real. She looked like a sort of doll. I've never seen her in the flesh, so to speak, before. And I was
And
gobsmacked.
you saw a lot of flesh.
I saw a lot, yes, I did see an awful lot of flesh, but I was gobsmacked. I thought she was just exquisite, I think is the word.
Yes, she and Madonna, I think, are the sort of, they're almost like kind of vampires. They hide from the sun, and their skin's amazing. But unfortunately, I kind of like a bit of sun.
I do too.
Now, just going back, because when I met you, my friend and I, who both used to be in advertising years ago, we were sort of, fascinated because you were sort of a celebrity advertising person in many ways. We knew you back in the day as, I know it's probably you hear it all the time, but the Scottish Widows woman.
Yeah.
And it was so iconic, and I'm just fascinated how that came about.
Well, it was just a normal casting. I mean, it was very interesting, and we can talk about the whole the modelling and beauty standards a bit later, but I moved to London in the early 90s. So I was sort of on the cusp of the sort of supermodel era. You remember that amazing Lindbergh cover that he did with all of the girls?
Black and white in New York.
Just beautiful. I mean, iconic. And I was discovered by Storm at the Clothes Show Live exhibition. So off I went to London thinking, oh, this is going to be great because I look sort of like those girls. I have the same curves. I have the same... And I kid you not, the week that I arrived, Heroin Chic broke, and it was all Corinne Day and Kate Moss and grunge, and I was like, well, that's me done for, because my body shape is not that. It's never going to be that. So for a year, I didn't work at all. I mean, I just did not bag one job.
Because they just wanted that super ridiculously unattractive. It was like everywhere, and it was
everywhere,
and it's almost like at the moment it's gone on a big cycle, a big circle, because it's sort of coming, we kind of got a bit more inclusive, but there is this threat of it coming back because it's reflecting the sort of the weight loss drugs and stuff.
And I think fashion is cyclical, isn't it? There's always going to be that kind of, and I just didn't get my cycle right.
And it was the worst possible timing.
Oh, it was so bad. But I fell in love with London, and I fell in love with being here. So I thought, right, okay, let's have a little think about this. I'll keep going. I was quite stubborn as well. And, my dad thought I was mad for going to London. So I was almost like, right, I'm going to prove him wrong, even if it kills me. So I did all sorts. I worked in a bar. I cleaned houses. I did everything I could to just make the rent. And then I had a phone call saying, would you like to go for a casting? It was on my birthday, I remember, a blisteringly hot summer's day, for a brand called Scottish Widows. And it went down to, there were hundreds of girls going for that casting, and then it went down to 20, and then it went down to 2. And the rumour is Scottish Widows didn't want me, but the director did, and the director fought harder, and so I got the gig.
So that was 10 years.
It was 10 years of modelling, yeah. But it's very interesting talking about sunshine beforehand, because I remember I'd booked a holiday to go to Greece. I went to Kefalonia, and I had to shoot the commercial the week that I got back, so I wasn't allowed to be brown. So I spent the entire holiday with this enormous wide-brimmed hat, way before they became fashionable, because I had to obviously look very sort of pale and enigmatic, and those were the days where you couldn't go out and just bake. So yeah, I sort of
but it was so iconic, and it's up there for anyone that's old enough to know. Which I think I'm 2 years. We're about the same
I'm
age.
53 now. Yeah.
Oh no, a year younger. And it was just, you were everywhere. And I was absolutely fascinated because I was so interested in advertising, and I got into ad agencies back in the day. But you were like the gold blend characters. They were like, you were characters in your own right, as in you weren't a TV person, but we all knew you. And you were, how was that, dealing with that sort of fame?
I think what was interesting about it was because you only ever saw my face. You didn't see the rest of me. That very rarely did I get recognised. Ironically, I get recognised more now than I did then. I can remember sort of walking around London thinking, everyone's going to know who I am. Nobody knew
Put a cloak on.
Hello. Yeah. So I didn't get recognised a lot at the time because I think you only saw. It's amazing, isn't it? You don't see the hair and the rest of the body. It's literally just my face. Occasionally, I'd get a sort of nudge, and I think that's that girl from the telly. But the day of advertising, or that glory day, I also remember the one. Do you remember the one with Paula Hamilton where she had the fur coat on? It was for Volkswagen, wasn't it? And she threw everything away, and she was just about to throw the keys to the car away, and she kept it. That was shot by Bailey, who also shot my Scottish Widows commercials. So it had that kind of advertising. Then was very much a glamorous feel, wasn't it? And
they put a lot of money behind it,
but we sat and watched them because you couldn't scroll, you couldn't flick channels unless you had to get up off the sofa and press the button. You couldn't
have a stick, because I'm like, I always used to try and work out ways to change the channel, and oh god,
and you couldn't fast forward the adverts, so they almost became part of the program, didn't they? Because you'd sort of, do you remember the Guinness advert with the horses? Yeah. They were very clever because they put it at the beginning and the end of the adverts, didn't they? So they made you stay and watch it, and you knew it was coming.
It was because that's why I went into advertising, because in that time there was epic ads. There's the British Airways ads. There's so many that were so cleverly done. And then so going then behind the curtain in an ad agency and seeing how that all worked.
Yeah.
And I think they had a lot of money then, and the game's changed hugely. Yeah. But I think 10 years it would have been incredible.
Oh,
the
for glory days. Yeah, I mean, I remember one commercial. Ironically, we never shot in Scotland. One commercial, we flew to Johannesburg. We shot in the Drakensberg mountain regions. And I just remember being in this countryside and thinking, those horses are black and white, and then realising they were zebras because, I was this kid. I was a kid from a council estate, and all of a sudden I'm on this, I've got a Winnebago, and I'm shooting with these incredible directors in these beautiful locations, and I think the 90s were really the glory years of advertising, weren't they?
It's such a shame. And music videos, they were...
Oh my God, MTV.
Could have sat for hours.
Well, it did.
But who did your makeup? Was it anyone sort of, any interesting names? Because I imagine...
Cheryl Phelps Gardner did my makeup. There a lovely girl called Gina. Oh God, I can't remember her surname. There was whoever Bailey liked at the time. Do you remember Rick Haler, the hairdresser?
No.
So he was. I had a great story to talk about Bailey. So when I got the commercial, and I knew that Bailey was going to be taking all of the photographs, I was quite scared. I mean, that was the biggest photographer that I'd ever worked with.
The only one anyone ever knew his name.
Yeah, and I remember my agency saying to me, look, when you get there, Bailey's like a dog. If he senses fear, he'll go for you. So I was like, right, okay. I was 22 at the time. And I remember pulling up outside his studio, and the hairdresser Rick was there, and he was unloading all his bags. And I said, do you want me to give you a hand? And he went, oh yeah, that'd be great. So I was like, right, show no fear. So I went into the studio, and I was like, hi Bailey, nice to meet you. I said, anyone want a cup of tea? And I
called him Bailey.
Did I call him Mr. Bailey? I can't remember. I was probably Sir God. And so I went up and made some tea, and then we're all sat there. And he said, where's this bloody model? And I was like, I'm here. He was like, I thought you were the hair. I won't say exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of, goodness me, I thought you were the hairdresser's assistant. But so from after that, we kind of got on like a house on fire, and he was amazing. I mean, just to work with somebody like that. Did you ever work with him when you were in it?
No. I've done some stuff with Rankin, who's also
Yeah.
another sort of name, a bit working with him. But I think David Bailey is like proper old school, original craftsman of photography.
And just knew the lighting, the way he could light you was unbelievable. He was great.
Yeah, I think that glory days are gone. And then you moved on to doing some really, I think when you've got that face that people know you, what made you decide to go into the sort of TV world, presenting world after that?
Well, the modelling was great for a while, but you have to have, you have to have incredibly thick skin, because you are, a lot of the time you're an object, and I can remember one commercial or one casting that I went to that kind of put the final nail in the coffin. I knew from day one I was never going to be a Vogue girl, or I was much more commercial and advertising. And I remember going on a casting in Old Street, which was the opposite end of London to me, and it was the same photographer that I used to see sort of on a regular basis. And I remember sort of queuing up and getting to the front of the line, and he had the client next to him, and he took my book and he went, "Got anything new in here?" And I went, "Not really." And he flicked through my book whilst talking to the client, didn't even look at me, and then handed it back and went, "Thanks." And I remember thinking to myself, I'm done with this now. I'm done with, it was an amazing job. I did 8 years and I got to travel the world. But I also got very bored of being treated like a commodity. And so then I was like, right, what the bloody hell am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so I went back to school to train to be a teacher.
Oh, wow. Because did you get other work when you were doing Scottish Widows, or were you under a sort of contract?
Under a cloak. I was under a cloak and a contract. I couldn't work for any other financial institution, so that kind of wiped it out. I could work for other brands, but I had to be careful. So things like lingerie, I mean, obviously this was the sort of era of lads mags as well, like FHM, and wasn't allowed to do anything like that. FHM wanted me to go to Mauritius with Lisa Snowdon and shoot a calendar, and I wasn't allowed, which was quite annoying.
That's the one thing I am glad is not around anymore, the lads mags.
Awful.
For any of the young girls who might be listening to this, I mean, it objectified us
100%.
So much, and women felt like they had to get their kit off in order to progress their career.
Yeah.
Did you consider that when you finished Scottish Widows? You thought, okay, what can I do?
It was a really interesting time for me, because I was sort of 28, 29. I left school at 15 with a few qualifications, but not much. So I've always had a sort of slight inferiority complex that I'm not. I've always had a slight inferiority complex that I'm not clever enough or intellectual enough. So I suddenly sort of thought to myself, what on earth am I going to do? And I did always have the thought of wanting to be a teacher. So I went back to college to train to be a teacher. And I kid you not, within 10 minutes of going into that first classroom, I'd had a missed call and they were casting for A Place in the Sun. So Channel 4 had just commissioned a show. It was 6 episodes. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, well, I'll do it because it will take me to January and then I can start really thinking about what I'm going to do, because I'm not sure whether this teaching thing is actually going to work. And I flew to Marbella within 2 weeks, and that was it. It just exploded, because I think that was it was about the year 2000. So that was when we had the sort of explosion of property shows. There's Location, Property Ladder, Grand Designs, Place in the Sun.
And travel was so much cheaper. That whole era, cheaper. You could get, I used to work on British Airways back in the day, and it was always, they were always worried about the EasyJets and the Ryanairs, because it was more accessible to get everywhere.
Absolutely.
So you were right in the right place at the right time.
I think that's going to go on my gravestone. She was always in the right place at the right time.
I like that.
Except for when she turned up to model and realised that she'd, but it's funny, isn't it? Because I think presenting is a very different genre, but in some ways it's very similar. Because I was used to being in front of a camera. I was used to being able to walk and talk, because obviously for a lot of commercials I used to do a lot for sort of Remington and Gossard and Oil of Oak Olay. What was it? What's the one that my mum used to? It
was the original, I think, and then it became Olay. I think.
So I did commercials for people like that. So I was very used to being aware of camera angles and things. So presenting, what it did was it combined my love of property, which I've always had.
Didn't you become an estate agent?
I was an estate agent straight from school.
At like 15.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is blending the perfect dream job.
Travel, presenting, and property. It was like I've died and gone to heaven. And, you know, on a daily basis, even now, I realise how lucky I am.
And do you ever, how does it work? Because I watch those sometimes. I haven't watched, you know, when one's at home in the day.
Yeah.
I work from home sometimes and I'm like, right, I might just watch a little property show.
Yes.
And I love them.
Yeah.
So how long are people out with you for?
They're out for 5 days. So what
that's
you
quite long.
see is a sort of combined each day. They're long days. You know, I think people at the beginning used to think that it was just going to be a quick, you know, because the program's an hour, so it'll probably take a couple of hours. And it's like, no, it's like you start at 8, you finish at 5. There's an awful lot that goes into it. I mean, the Scottish Widows commercial was 90 seconds long, and that used to take 4 days to shoot. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much they need to condense it. So yeah, we were
because
there.
I always think it's going to be like a day. Literally,
God,
it's like you're dashing around super quickly, see everything, and next person in. Like game shows, they film them all back to back at one particular time. Whereas it's really weird. It seems like it's quicker, but very cleverly, it was the magic tricks of telly.
You do what we call the top of show chat. That would take about a couple of hours, and then we do property 1, and then the next day we do property 2. But because we also needed to let them see where we were. You know, they're buying houses and a lot of the time they weren't used to the areas, so you kind of had to give them a day to sort of properly look, you know, because otherwise they're not, no one would offer on a house that they don't really know where it is, you know. So we used to give them a lot of time. We, you know, give them a couple of hours for lunch, and then they'd go and have a wander around, and we'd go off and film all our PTCs and things like that. So yeah, it was 4 or 5 days, but you had to wear the same outfit every
that's
day.
what I was going to say, because they're always wearing the same outfit.
Yeah, that used to be interesting.
Because that's the one thing. I'm like, well, it seems like they film in a day because of that.
Yeah.
But I guess you could take out like 2 dresses of the same thing, so like rather if it gets hot and sweaty.
Yeah, you back in, like we were talking about budgets. I remember at the beginning, I had a Versace dress. I mean, yeah, we had a budget. We had a clothing budget.
You had oh my gosh, you had that sort of
I don't
budget.
think it was like proper couture, but it still had Versace on the label, and I managed to spill ketchup down it when I was eating chips in the south of France, and so I washed it in the sink when I got back to the hotel. And the next day I woke up and it had just gone to sort of 3 times the size of its original. So the rest of the show had to be shot with a load of bulldog clips behind because I couldn't
see, and you couldn't turn around. You'd sort of have to sort of stay towards the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you have problems with, you know, makeup? Dead easy, I guess, because it's a sort of, you've got to look as natural and as normal as possible. On
makeup
that.
Was fine. I mean, I had to do my own because obviously there wasn't a budget in TV, and very rarely is there a budget in TV like that. You know, big live X Factors and things, of course, but
particularly now.
Yeah. Oh God, there's no budget in anything anymore. So I used to do my own. But it was very easy because you were out in glorious sunshine, so it was sort of slick of eyeliner and mascara and some bronzer and off you go. So it was that bit was fine.
Yeah, I think it's great people doing theirs. I've done Joanna Lumley quite a bit makeup wise, who's gorgeous.
She's amazing.
And she's like, I'll just do my own sometimes. She'd turn up and go, no, I'm fine, I've done it. Because back in the 60s, they didn't have makeup artists, and it slowly evolved. And I think it's great that people can do their own, but it's nicer when you've got someone else there doing it for you.
Makeup done. I love it. You girls are so clever. I work a lot with Liz Beckett, who
she's brilliant.
She's amazing. And you sort of fall into one of your makeup chairs like, it's sort of whatever time in the morning, and then when you sort of wake up, you go, oh my God, I look amazing. Is that really me? And
you feel relaxed. There's something, as we were talking about just now, it's when someone sits down, you meet them pretty quickly if you haven't worked with them before, and you're touching their face.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people, apart from doctors, get to you have that interaction straight away. Yeah. So there's an instant intimacy.
Yeah, very much.
And you get to be there, and if you calm your energy to try and calm the person depending on what they're doing, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then they can leave feeling better about how they look, feel better. There's a sort of lovely how they feel inside, and that's just as important
very much
as how the aesthetic looks.
Absolutely. And I think it can inspire and give you so much confidence as well. You know, I worked with Liz a lot on the right stuff when that was going, and you know, that was like a 2-hour live show every single day, and it was heavy, it was political, it was, you know, so you kind of had to be on your game, and if you knew that somebody had made your face look, you know, also you were there at like 4 a.m. You used to have to get up at 4 to get to the studio. So to have someone to create this image,
which just means you don't have to think and worry about it.
You don't have to panic about it. Yeah,
you can relax. And you've got daughters.
I do.
So your daughters, from what you experienced, this sort of, you know, in the 90s, the sort of heyday of the supermodel, etc. How do you now try and help your daughters navigate into the, you know, becoming women and how to feel good about themselves? It's
really interesting, and I wish I had sort of the golden rule of what I do. I wing it most of the time, but I'm also, I try and teach them, because obviously, you know, my 16-year-old is very much, she's got her Snapchat and her Instagram and TikTok and all of that kind of stuff, and I keep sort of trying to say to her, you know that a lot of what you see is not real. You know, a lot of the images that you're looking at, those girls do not look like that in real life. You see how mummy, you know, when I do a thing for Instagram, you see how long it takes, you see how much editing is done. I think it's so important to allow your children the knowledge to know that what they're looking at isn't necessarily what you actually see. I mean, I think back now to when I was modeling, and you know, it was prehistoric. You know, we used to get the film, actual film, and then we'd circle the ones that looked good. There was no retouching, there was no, you know, shaving a bit off the thigh or making the waist look a bit thinner, and I think that the standards that people have to live up to now are so unobtainable sometimes that it's quite frightening.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because actually I felt when I was younger, I think there was almost, in some ways, because I think social media is one place, but actually the Cindy Crawfords, the girls on the cover of the Lindbergh Vogue, I felt like beauty I wasn't represented in the world of beauty because I was small and I didn't look like them. And I think, you know, even then there was huge amounts of pressure. And then I went to work in advertising and I worked on various beauty brands, and they did do retouching. I don't think you guys probably got exposed to knowing about it, but they did do a lot of retouching. They'd clean the skin up, they'd do all sorts of things where they'd change the body, and they wanted it to be perfect. So I think, you know, the magazines, I think, still put a lot of pressure on us to look a certain way. And now I don't think it's so much of the magazines, it's social media. Yeah. And I think it's a continuous pressure for us to look a certain way. So when we have this inclusivity, it just is so refreshing having ads that, like, you know, the sanitary towel ads, and you see actual, if I'm allowed to talk about this stuff, you see blood rather than blue liquid.
And people running around in skin-tight white leggings. But also what I think is so refreshing nowadays is that there are women of all ages advertising beauty products, because I always find it so ironic that, you know, as a 53-year-old, I'm not buying a cream that some 22-year-olds using because their skin is amazing. You know, I want to buy a cream that somebody of my age is using because it makes me think, oh, okay, well, it works for her. And I want to see wrinkles, you know, I want to see imperfections. We're all, I mean, gosh, sometimes I play around with it. If I do something on Instagram and I go, oh, let's have a look if I press that AI button, let's see what my skin would look like. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I would never do it because I think I don't use filters. I don't use any of those other gadgets. I quite often post things on my page that are me, and I mean, ironically, there was one that I posted 2 days ago. It was me reading a book. I went on a cruise and I was sat on the balcony and I was reading a book, and the person I was with took this video of me because I was bawling my eyes out.
Yes, I saw that. That book. I need to read that book.
It's an amazing book. But the interesting thing is that's up to nearly 500,000 views now because, you know, I'm like that, so you can see all of this, and I've just woken up, so my hair's all over the
and
shop,
it's real because you're showing emotion.
Exactly, but you can see that it's not this flawless airbrushed finish. This is just me crying my eyes out over some book. But that has become more popular than any of the other things that I've done in the last few months because people want to see the real you.
It's the authenticity, and people feel more connected. And I have a makeup brand, and it's always, how do we get that nice balance in showing that it works, but giving that realness at the same time.
100%.
You want that aspiration, but at the same time you want to have that realness, and it is stripping. It's a really fine balance. I've been at a beauty conference this morning, and we're all talking about the sort of pro age and how to kind of represent everybody, and it's so important to do that now. And I think that's the one thing that we didn't see when we were younger. You saw the supermodels or super skinny people, that was it.
Exactly. And that's what I love about, it's a real double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you have all the sort of TikToks and the Instagrams now, but then you also have all the inclusivity of ages, shapes, skin colours, sizes, which I think is amazing and helps so much in when you're looking at a brand or a product or a person, to think, actually, she looks like she's lived a life, but she still looks incredible. And I think that is really, really important.
Now, so tell me, because you've got a lovely glowing skin, you look well. What are your sort of go-to products? What sort of stuff do you like using at the moment?
I like a lot of I try, and I say this to Willow, my 16-year-old, is keep it simple. You know, we are all exposed to so many different products that I'm very lucky that I think genetically, I mean, my mum is 75 and she does not look 75. So we're quite lucky. Haven't had any work done yet. Would I have work done? Possibly. At the moment, I haven't. A very good friend of mine has just had some micro Botox, and it does look very different. I mean, it looks great. It's just a little delicate bit, and she looks fabulous.
Because cameras also pick up the worst angles if you're not in the right light.
Absolutely.
And then you can feel like, oh my God, I look awful. It's like, well, no, because you're not seeing yourself in the true 360 environment. It's just, it is a moment.
And it puts, what, £10, don't they say? Cameras put £10 on you, like, oh God, as if I need any more. So I keep it very simple. I cleanse, serum, moisturizer, sunscreen in the morning. I've just discovered the joys of the Zip Halo. Oh my God, I like
Zip Halo. Tell me, what's that?
So it's a little device. It's about that big, and it's white and it's got micro currents in it, and you just do this.
Oh,
have you not?
Why do I not know? Because I know about microblading. I can't even think of the word now. Menopause brain. The derma. Whatever, those little
I know
needles.
what you mean. Yeah, no, this isn't. These are two little balls, silver balls on a white.
Oh yes, I have seen it. Yes,
and you put like a conducting gel on your face, and then you just do this, and you do 2 minutes that side, 2 minutes that side. The difference, if you wake up in the morning and you look a bit, that thing is incredible. It's expensive. I think it retails between £300 and £400, but I use that pretty much, I would say, 5 times a week minimum.
But it's like working out your face. It's like a face workout.
Yeah, and you look, it's an instant thing. Because I need instant gratification, you know. If I don't look like I've had a facelift within one go, I'm like, wow, I'm out of it. But that thing is great because it'll bring all of, like, my cheeks and my face suddenly look glowing. So if I'm going out to an event and I need to give it a bit more oomph, then I will use that. Huge fan of self-tan.
Which self-tans do you like? Because you and I love a bit of Amanda Harrington's tan back in the day.
Amanda Harrington. I mean, she was my favourite. I thought she was incredible. I loved her. In fact, my daughter still has a bottle with the sculpting brush. She was so clever at how she would make you put it on and make you have cheekbones and like a little. I love Gatineau. Gatineau's Golden Glow Gradual Tan. I think that's the name. And they've just brought out a face serum one. That is brilliant. Absolutely love that because it's gradual, and the face one is great because it's a serum, so it helps to sort of hydrate as well. So I tend to use that every other day in the winter. And
what makeup wise, what's your kind of go-to makeup products?
I love the Korean brand Eborian. Their CC cream is unbelievable.
I think they've just come out with a new one. I mean, their innovation.
I've got it on as we speak, and it's got hyaluronic acid in it as well, so it helps to sort of moisturize and plump. But what's so clever about it is that if you're not a fan of the kind of heavily made up face, that one is brilliant because it just blends into your skin. And they've also brought out another 4 shades, so now there are 6 shades because there used to just be 2, and now they've got 6. So it's super easy. So I cleanse my face, I serum, moisturize, SPF, and then I chuck that on.
Yeah,
and I dot it. So I sort of dot it all around, and then you just rub it in with your hands if you're in a hurry as well.
Yeah, I think nowadays there is a trend. I've been at this beauty conference. There is a massive trend. We're spending so much more time looking after our skin. Why cover it with really heavy makeup? Put a bit of a tint with a tan. Put a tinted moisturiser. I developed my one, which it looks like your skin. It's very much like the Eborian,
Brilliant.
but it's got all those extra bits in it. So the other trend that they were talking about today, it's a sort of skinification, so of makeup, and that's where you have your skincare and makeup like blended together.
Right.
So it's like you've got that hydration, you've got that sort of glow, and it's not hiding your skin, and that's really where it seems lots of people are going.
And for me, I've been away a lot this year, and I try and travel. I have a little suitcase which is about so big, which is carry-on, and I try and just travel with that. So I have to hone down my makeup bag because I don't want to be like lugging. And you find like it's with anything, isn't it? You'll take all of these products and then you end up just using the same 5 or 6. So I try and sort of keep it. I've got a little beauty pie bag and I just keep it all in that, and I've really narrowed it down now.
Yeah, I mean, my makeup kit is enormous.
For
my pro kit, but my own one is just absolutely tiny, and it's almost really embarrassing because it's like it's not that as clean as you'd think. Like my pro kit is immaculate. It's a job, but my personal stuff, because you're just so busy, and it's really hard to kind of, people go, but you're a makeup artist, look at your makeup bag. I'm like, well, I'm busy, I don't have time.
No, I know, and it's the same, and I've managed to get it down to kind of 5 or 6 products in less than 5 minutes now. So yeah.
So Eborian is...
So I use Eborian CC cream. I like a creamy blush, so I like Merit, the little flash bar. Are they called flash balms?
It's beautiful, that brand.
So clever, so clever. I'm a big fan of them actually. So I'll use their cheek, and I use there's a brand called Zoeva.
Yes.
I use their Pout Perfect pencil. Nice. And if I'm really trying to sort of minimalise stuff, I'll use that on my lips and my cheeks. So
we did that today. I put some lip balm on you and then put on...
It feels amazing, by the way.
It's again, it's like merging all these things. It's got SPF, it's hydrating and a bit of colour. Perfect. But you can also put it in your cheeks.
Great idea.
Which I think it's like, don't always, with makeup products, keep it to one particular use. You can mix and match so many things. Yeah. And that's half the joy of it.
Absolutely. And mascaras, I'm a big fan. When I can be bothered, I get the LV lift. I mean, it is a pain, and you have to be sat there for like an hour while they do it, and inevitably I fall asleep. So for those of you listening that don't know what it is, it's like a perm for your eyes.
It's a perm for your eyes.
It's a perm for your eyelashes. You're not allowed to talk, which for me is really hard because otherwise the solution gets in your eyes and it really stings. But inevitably I fall asleep and then wake myself up snoring, which is really embarrassing because I'm in the chair like that. I just go,
oh, it's just nice, isn't it?
And then I have to apologise to the technician as I'm so terribly sorry. But it is so good because it just lifts.
And then you don't have to put... Do you wear mascara when you use it?
I do wear mascara, but I either use the Hourglass Unlocked, which I adore, or there's the new one, which is the WeAreRum. The Rum Mascara, which is Sam Chapman, Sally Hughes and Jo Jones. Amazing.
It's beautiful. And I think what I like now in the mascaras is ones that also have the growth serum as well as the mascara. So you're nourishing lashes as well as getting that sort of va-va-voom look. So it's all these things that aren't just have one purpose. Because if you've only got a certain amount of space in your makeup bag, that's like going to property. It is very, it's very highly prized real estate in your makeup bag. You want something that's got loads of multi-purpose stuff.
And I think, I don't know about you, but the older I get, the less crap I need in my life in every way, shape and form. My surroundings and my home, I'm constantly getting rid of stuff because I just want to live in a clean and simple environment. And it's the same with my makeup and my skincare. I just want it to work, but I don't need to be inundated with products.
Well, I always love watching your Instagram and seeing what you are talking about, because what I love, it's very authentic, because what you use, you talk about, not any other way. And I think that's so important, to keep it authentic.
It is, and for me it really is, because I don't want, and I was a fairly late comer to the whole world of Instagram. I mean, I've been doing it probably about 5 or 6 years now, but I was quite late to it. And when I very first started, I remember thinking to myself, I don't ever want to to promote a product, if I ever got the chance to promote a product, that I didn't believe in. And I remember one company once wanting me to do it was a Japanese skincare brand, and they had something like an 8-part gua sha thing and a roly thing, and I thought, I haven't got time for that in a week, let alone every morning. And I'm not going to try and say to all my followers, oh, I love using this, because I don't, and I won't do it. So I turned it down.
Well, I think that authentic is absolutely key. And people, if they don't look at your Instagram and your social media, they should, because it's just got a lovely tone to it.
Thank you.
And you just do talk about stuff in such a real way and a trusting way that doesn't feel silly at all.
Thank you.
A massive thank you to Amanda Lamb. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching at True Reflections Podcast. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.